Hello, I'm Abigail, and I've encountered some incredible stories about mother-in-law relationships that echo my own experiences. My journey was almost derailed by my ex-husband, Stephen, and his mother, Doris. Thankfully, my sister-in-law, Judy, emerged as a supportive friend during this difficult time. Let me share how I managed to avoid the financial traps set by Stephen and Doris. My marriage to Stephen was relatively new and ended quickly. In hindsight, it was a blessing, as it revealed his true character. I yearned for love, and Stephen initially seemed to provide that, showering me with affection. We both had stable jobs, and after about 4 years together, we rushed into marriage. Little did I know the love he offered was a mere facade. Shortly after we wed, Stephen dropped a bombshell. He had lost his job just before our marriage but kept it a secret out of shame. I was left bewildered and frightened. He apologized, explaining that men in his family faced scorn if they couldn't provide. Despite my disappointment, I supported him as he searched for new work. However, months passed without any effort on his part. To my dismay, I found myself financially supporting his mother, Doris, with a monthly allowance. Even 11 months into our marriage, Doris, a difficult woman, publicly called me a gold digger and humiliated me at every turn. The situation worsened when Stephen refused to stand up for me, leaving it to Judy to intervene. In a private conversation, she expressed her concern, acknowledging that her family wasn't the best influence. She confided that they would never appreciate me simply for being a woman. Drawing from her own experiences, Judy's insights prompted me to reevaluate my circumstances. I had a solid career, yet my mother criticized Stephen solely because of his gender. Judy's words resonated deeply. Doris consistently belittled women while praising her son. I often wondered how she would react if she knew I was the one covering her expenses. I never anticipated witnessing the truth unfold during a family dinner I attended. The atmosphere was lively with many of Stephen's relatives present, but his behavior left me speechless. He declared himself the family's breadwinner, a claim I might have accepted, if only he hadn't continued to mock me. To my shock, he spun a web of lies, suggesting I earned little and forced him to fund my so-called luxuries. The room erupted with laughter as he painted me as a gold digger. Doris seized the moment to reinforce her disdain for me, insisting she had always known I was a freeloader. As Stephen belittled me, he implied I would be homeless without him, insinuating that I deserved it for my alleged laziness. Listening to those words from Stephen and Doris left me reeling. While I was aware of Doris's animosity, Stephen's betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. I couldn't believe he would fabricate such lies, not only falsely presenting himself as the provider but also perpetuating harmful stereotypes about me. Just as I was about to break down in tears, Judy stepped in. "You all are being unnecessarily cruel to Abigail. She's a hardworking woman who deserves respect, not your hurtful words. You should apologize." Unmoved, Stephen and Doris questioned why they should apologize, insisting they were merely speaking the truth. According to them, I should be the one to apologize for being a supposed parasite. Doris even went so far as to compare me to a pet, claiming I couldn't support myself and emphasizing that men should take care of women, as we are inherently dependent. Amid their laughter and toxic remarks, Judy, a hardworking woman herself, felt the sting of their words. It pained her to witness her mother praise Stephen simply for being a man. As I sat there, my initial hurt morphed into seething anger. I had devoted my time and resources to caring for them, yet I barely recognized Stephen anymore. I suppressed the urge to confront them on the spot, enduring their jokes until I couldn't take it any longer. Feigning a headache, I excused myself from the dinner, much to Stephen's visible disappointment. Once we got home, I could no longer hold back. I confronted Stephen, unleashing my frustration. "What were you thinking? Your words were hurtful, and I am not a parasite living off you. You're the one without a job right now." He shrugged it off, claiming it wasn't a big deal and attributing his comments to the machismo in his family. "It wouldn't look good if people knew the truth about our situation," he said, dismissing my feelings. "Instead of supporting me, you chose to humiliate me in front of our family just to inflate your ego. How do you justify that? Answer me. You're being overly dramatic. Abigail, you need to let it go. You're ruining my fun. Just calm down and go back to sleep. It's been a long night." Stephen tried to trivialize the situation. "No, absolutely not. I won't pretend I was okay with what you did today. Did you even hear what your mother said? Instead of defending me, you joined Doris in humiliating me. Leave my mother out of this. Abigail, you can't take a joke and are just blaming us for your insecurities. Let's go to bed. You have work tomorrow." "I have the luxury to stay at home and waste time," Stephen remarked casually as he headed to the bedroom. leaving me stunned by his nonchalant dismissal of my feelings. It was clear he couldn't understand why I was reacting so strongly. That night, I stayed on the couch, reflecting on everything. I realized I had been a fool. Stephen and his mother were using me to fund their lives without any genuine affection. His attitude revealed the financial abuse lurking beneath the surface of our marriage. I knew I had to get out. The next day, Stephen acted as if nothing had happened, conveniently forgetting his insulting remarks. When I attempted to discuss it again, he repeatedly shut me down. Frustrated, I recognized it was time to make a decision. Before taking action, I reached out to Judy, grateful for her support, even if it was a weak gesture. Stephen and Mom can be ruthless, I told her. It was completely inappropriate for him to manipulate me like that just because he's seen as the breadwinner. About that, Judy, I continued, Stephen has been deceiving everyone. He hasn't been the breadwinner for the past 5 months. He lost his job, a fact he hasn't disclosed to anyone. Surprisingly, even Doris doesn't know. She's unaware that her son isn't providing her allowance. I've been the one giving her the money. He wouldn't compromise his macho image, even with his mother. I can't deal with this anymore. And for you, Judy, it must be incredibly challenging. I've reached my limit. I've come to realize that Stephen married me solely for financial gain, knowing I craved love and would comply with his wishes. Thankfully, I discovered his true motives before wasting more time on him. I've had enough, and I'm ready to take action. Abigail, I understand your predicament, Judy said. I've suffered for years as well. Please share your plans. I'll do my best to support you. I'm here for you. I shared my intentions with her. I aimed to teach Stephen and Doris a lesson about their regressive views on women and make them understand they couldn't exploit others without consequences. Together, we devised a plan and set it in motion. I consulted a lawyer to address specific matters and decided to wait a week before initiating the first part of my plan. Once the week passed, I was ready to confront Stephen. Just 11 months into our marriage, I sat him down and urged him to listen patiently. He dismissed it as yet another trivial issue. Frustrated, he insisted I drop it, expressing his disdain for what he called drama. That's when I delivered the news. He no longer had to be with me because I had filed for an annulment. His reaction was one of disbelief. He thought I was joking. When he asked why I was pursuing the annulment, I explained that he had lied about being employed and manipulated me into supporting his freeloading lifestyle. When I try to communicate, it's clear you don't care about my feelings, I continued. You did nothing to protect me from your mother's cruelty. Those weren't just minor inconveniences, they were significant betrayals. But Stephen, we don't need an annulment solely based on that. What's your plan? Do you intend to keep me in limbo for a few more years until you're ready to claim alimony? Those plans won't work anymore. I see through your facade. You've used me to support both your life and your mother's while giving me nothing but insults and shame in return. As I glared at him, he began to apologize, finally realizing I wasn't the doormat he once thought. I am a woman who knows how to stand up for herself. The moment I mentioned annulment, he understood that his source of financial support was about to break free. He pleaded with me not to end everything, claiming we had once been happy together. But I knew this was more than a small mishap. For days, I had tried to discuss his behavior, but he consistently ignored me and became furious each time I brought it up. He never apologized for his actions, and our once good relationship had deteriorated as he manipulated me into supporting him and his mother. I don't want your insincere apology, Stephen. I'm done with you, and we are proceeding with the annulment. And there's one more thing I need to mention. I pulled out some documents and handed them to him. As he read through the papers, shock washed over his face. Yes, Stephen, these documents include our marriage annulment and your eviction notice. Since I've already filed for the annulment, I thought it fitting to provide you with the eviction papers as well. Panic set in as he pleaded with me, insisting I couldn't kick him out because he was my husband. Where is your attention, Stephen? I've made it clear that I've filed for an annulment. You won't be my husband for much longer. And yes, I am asking you to leave. I felt trapped, knowing I couldn't confide in my mom about losing my job. You, on the other hand, had no qualms about fabricating stories for Doris regarding your employment situation. I was confident you'd devise some plan, spin a narrative, or come up with a strategy. As for your mother, she wouldn't receive another dime from me. However, I was giving you until the end of the month to figure things out. Having stated my position, I left Stephen to navigate this predicament alone, anticipating he'd call Judy for help. We had orchestrated the plan such that she would firmly refuse any assistance. Having endured enough humiliation, Judy was eager to sever ties and fully supported my scheme. Throughout the next month, Stephen pulled out all the stops, adopting a romantic demeanor and showering me with affection. He even bought gifts using the last of the money I had given him. which I left untouched in the main bedroom while I retreated to the guest room, allowing him to keep the main space as a parting gesture. He remained convinced I wouldn't evict him. Meanwhile, Doris was blissfully unaware of what was happening. When the month ended and she didn't receive her allowance, she stormed into my house, accusing me of intentionally withholding it. I denied her claims, stating that Stephen's financial decisions were his alone. Unfazed, she insisted Stephen had informed everyone about my supposed dependency on him and alleged that I was draining his accounts, even eyeing her money. I shot back, clarifying that it was never her money to begin with. When she challenged my denial, I asked what she planned to tell the world about Stephen's success when I had just informed her that he was unemployed and that I had been the one providing financial support. She dismissed it as nonsense, claiming no one would believe it. Stephen had always portrayed himself as the breadwinner. However, when confronted by Doris, he remained silent, unable to maintain the facade. As Doris pressed him to assert his status, he finally admitted the truth. I, not Stephen, was the sole provider of our household. Doris rejected this revelation vehemently, insisting her son wouldn't depend on a woman. Unfazed, I informed her I had given Stephen an eviction notice a month prior and that he was to move out by next week. Shocked, she interrogated Stephen, who reluctantly confirmed my words. Realizing her dependency on me, Doris pleaded with me not to leave Stephen and to continue covering their expenses. I couldn't help but laugh at their desperation, reminding Doris of her disdain for me just a month earlier. In the following week, both Stephen and Doris continued their relentless pleas, apologizing and begging me to reconsider. However, I stood firm. When the week ended, I ordered Stephen to leave my property, threatening to involve the police if he resisted. He left with his belongings, moving in with Doris. Judy informed me they had tried to seek financial help from her, but she adamantly refused. I blocked their numbers and instructed Stephen to communicate through a lawyer. Our separation proceeded smoothly since Stephen lacked the financial means to contest it in court. Eventually, I heard they were being evicted from Doris's apartment due to months of unpaid rent. Cut off from Judy's support, they resorted to couch surfing at relatives' places, facing an uncertain future. Meanwhile, I focused on rebuilding my life and embracing the joy of independence. I vowed not to fall into anyone's trap again, hopeful that I would one day find my true soulmate.